only on BloombergQuint.
Hello and welcome. This is the Market Wrap. I am Arvind Vakil. Well, we have seen gains for the benchmark indices for the fourth straight days, and the question really is now, are we expecting a recovery, a significant one in fund flows as well? We are looking at advances for BPCL, up 4.5% today, the top gainer on the Nifty. Grasim Industries, Z Entertainment, Bajaj Finance all advancing in trade. On the losing end, we have weakness in Hero MotoCorp and Hindalco, Vedanta Asian Paints and NTPC, among others, which are losing out. Let's talk a little more about the broader markets too. And we do have Bajaj Consumer locked in an upper circuit of 20%. And as you can see, we are looking at significant gains there. A good deal of general insurance companies also making a recovery. General Insurance as well as New India Assurance up and about and locked in an upper circuit of 20% too. ITDC looking at sharp surge and up more around 15.5%, MMTC as well gaining. On the losing end, of course, you have PNB Housing Finance, Indiabulls Ventures, as well as Indiabulls Housing Finance losing out. But on that note, let's talk about Bajaj Consumer Care, because that's up as much as 20%. Now, it just so happens that yesterday the stock took a very large knock, and we actually saw the stock fall significantly. Today there was a recovery. Why? Because the promoters actually reduced their stake from 60% to 38% in order to get rid of all their loans. At this point in time, as things stand, they have no encumbrance at all, and there were a whole host of domestic institutions which picked up stake in Bajaj Consumer. So the good news is that the debt is out of the way, and we have Bajaj Consumer which advanced by as much as 20%. On that note, let me get in our market editor Neeraj Shah for his thoughts on the markets. Neeraj, what have you made of how things are going on today?
Yeah, Agam, for the last 2-3 mornings, we've been thinking about whether the market can give a direction or it's really a stock-specific thing. Yeah. This morning, the expectation was that because of SBI Life's insurance numbers and other factors, maybe the insurance companies could do well, crude going down, maybe some of the crude-linked beneficiaries could actually do well, and so on and so forth. And I think that's how it's kind of playing out. Divestment themes, BPCL is playing well. So it's become just such a very, very stock-specific market. Maybe the markets are waiting for some reactions on earnings from some of the large banks before deciding whether they want to move higher in 11,464 number or no. So maybe being stock-specific is the order of the day. We didn't have too many large numbers today, so not much to talk about from that perspective. Right. Maybe tomorrow and Friday when Reliance comes out with numbers, that's when maybe the big action happens for the next week.
Absolutely. Well, we keep an eye on that mammoth out there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Neeraj, for that perspective there. And moving on, let's talk about, this one other earnings that came through in the mid-cap space. A very important private sector bank, federal bank, coming out with earnings, which seemed to be a tad disappointing at the face of it. But let me get in Shefali Malik to throw us some more light on the numbers. Shefali, how were the numbers here?
Well, the numbers on the headline basis were pretty okay. In fact, quite good, with net profit growing by about 57% on a YY basis. But the asset quality didn't look that great because the fresh slippages were to the tune of about 540 crores versus just about 415. So almost a 130 crore rupees jump in the fresh slippages. And a large part of that came in from the corporate slippages, which saw a meaningful uptick in this particular quarter. And the overall asset quality also, in terms of gross NPAs and net NPAs, went up. Gross NPAs went up to 3.07 versus about 3% on a sequential basis, and net NPAs also inched up by about 10 basis points. And but other than that, the business momentum was quite good considering the entire systemic growth. Their advances growth was about 15%, deposits growth about 18%, and 2 quarters back the bank actually managed to report return on assets of 1% plus after many quarters.
Right.
So that went down slightly again in Q1, but this quarter again it reported 1.03% return on assets. So the numbers were quite good, but I think in terms of fresh slippages, the market is just looking at the asset quality data with a magnified glass these days. So that is what came in as a disappointment.
Okay, fair enough. Shivali, thanks for getting us those updates out there. And Federal Bank, which did come off to a certain extent in today's day of trade. And of course, there are plenty of other earnings to keep an eye on. As Neeraj has already mentioned, there will be more specifically in the large cap space, which will influence the markets moving forward. Well, on the note, it's a wrap on the markets, but there's lots more lined up. Stay tuned to follow.